Hey, Stewart's Chapel. This is Don Pierson and Don Counts. We're down here at the Harris's farm at the river here, and this is Monday's devotion. We're still looking at the callings, and we're still looking at some specific, and this is going to be a lifetime call. And one of you out there kind of asked me to deal with this guy, and so we're looking at Elisha, not Elijah. Elisha's calling. And we're in 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 16 17, and then 19 and 21. And then we'll jump over to 2 Kings. So 1 Kings chapter 19, 16 through 21. Also, God speaking. God is giving a calling to Elijah. Also, you shall anoint Jehu, the son of Nimshi, as king over Israel, and Elisha, the son of Shaphat, of Abel Maholah, you shall anoint as prophet in your place. It shall be that whoever escapes the sword of Hazael, Jehu will kill, and whoever escapes the sword of Jehu, notice this, God is talking about Elijah's calling. Elisha will kill. Verse 19, so Elijah departed from there and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen. Man, that's one tough dude, I'll tell you what. Plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him. And he was with the 12th. Then Elijah passed by him and threw his mantle on him. And he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, please let me kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow you. And Elijah said to him, go back again, for what have I done to you? It's like, I can almost see Elijah smiling. What do you mean? Well, did I do something? I just threw my robe, my coat on you. I just thought you were a coat rack standing there. So Elisha turned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slaughtered them. Remember, there was 12 yoke of oxen. That's 24 oxen. He took 2 of them and slaughtered them and boiled their flesh using the oxen's equipment and gave it to the people, and they ate. Then he arose and followed Elijah and became his servant. Over in 2 Kings chapter 2, verses 1 and following. And it came to pass, when the Lord was about to take up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind, that Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. Then Elijah said to Elisha, stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to Bethel. But Elisha said, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So Elisha knows that he's the replacement for Elijah, and he knows something's going on. So they went down to Bethel. Now the sons of the prophets who were at Bethel came out to Elisha and said to him, do you know that the Lord will take away your master from over you today? So the clarification of a calling through others who have a calling. And he said, yes, I know. Keep quiet, please. Then Elijah said to him, Elisha, stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me on to Jericho. But Elisha said, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they came to Jericho. Now the sons of the prophets who were at Jericho came to Elisha and said to him, do you know that the Lord will take away your master from over you today? So he answered, yes, I know. Keep silent, be quiet. Now, so God has told Elisha. 2 groups of prophets have told Elisha. He knows that today is going to be the day when there's a passing on of the calling. Then Elijah said to him, stay here, please, for the Lord has sent me over onto the Jordan. But he said, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So the 2 of them went on. And 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood facing them at a distance, while the two of them stood by the Jordan. Now Elijah took his mantle, rolled it up, struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, so that the two of them crossed over on dry ground. And so it was, when they had crossed over, that Elijah said to Elisha, "Ask, what may I do for you before I am taken away from you?" And Elisha said, "Please, let a double portion of your spirit be upon me." So Elijah said, "You have asked a very hard thing, but nevertheless, if you see me when I am taken from you, it shall be so for you. But if not, it shall not be so." Then it happened, as they continued on and talked, that suddenly a chariot of fire appeared with horses of fire and separated the two of them, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven, and Elisha saw it. There's a lot more to it. And almost immediately, Elisha will begin to do some of the miracles that Elijah did. But it's obvious that as we just focus in on the calling, God called another individual before he ever spoke to Elisha. So God came to Elijah, and God used Elijah to communicate the call to Elisha. There's not a part before that where God spoke to Elisha personally or directly. The calling that comes to Elijah comes through another prophet. It's interesting how the other prophets also are used in the confirmation of what's about to happen in Elijah's life. There has been times when I have been very, very aware that God's hand is heavy and at work in an individual's life. There's been times when I was aware that God was calling an individual before they knew. Sort of like Samuel wasn't aware, but Eli was. There's some other stuff we can learn here. Elijah's calling is different than many of the other ones we've looked at. Elijah's calling doesn't come because he's devout or righteous or giving his alms or praying. He's farming. He's hard at work. He's working really hard. He's got 12 yoke of oxen. He's working the field. He's doing what he has grown up doing. And God is going to interrupt his day. That, I can tell you, often when God calls us, it is in the midst of the ordinary of our ordinary day. Don't be surprised if God calls you in the midst of the ordinariness of your ordinary day. The other thing is the mantle. The mantle of Elijah goes with Elisha's calling. He throws it out on him as he walks by. It falls from the sky and he receives it. It becomes part of Elisha's life, the mantle of Elijah. When it is true that when God uses another individual in our life to call us, it's not unusual that something from that individual is imparted to the one that is called. It's not always as tangible as a mantle. Sometimes it's the way that that individual looked at Scripture. Sometimes it's the way they preach. Sometimes it's the heart, the heartbeat. They're the bent. It is true that Elisha and Elijah's calling are very, very similar. They run along together working with the same people towards the same end. In the northern kingdom, where idolatry has run wild, sometimes God will use others to affirm our calling. Not always, but sometimes. I don't know how God is working in your life. Perhaps of all the ones we've looked at, Elijah speaks more to you than the others. Love you, Stewart's Chapel.